Hi folks, Mr. Ackerman here. Thanks for watching. This is our 5th episode of Great Work, and I'm going to be featuring some of the fantastic images that were sent in for the food photography assignment. In G class, you'll see this was special assignment number 4, and it was the first one where I experimented with the idea of not writing anything in the description and instead just creating a video where you had to watch it to find out what was required. Almost all of you did that, and you watched the whole thing and you nailed the expectations, which is great. Some of you may have forgotten a few things, or maybe you didn't watch the whole video, so make sure you do that. I would have sent you a message in G class asking you to make sure your assignment is complete. But now that I have all the work that was submitted, I want to first let you know that in our website, our Wix site for the class, you're going to see this. It's special assignment number 4, food photography. And if you scroll down here, you're going to see all of these fabulous photos that were sent in, and it's going to have the title and the photographer's name when you click on that. In the meantime, I've chosen a bunch of these images. I think there's 13 in all. They're mainly images from people who haven't been featured before, but who also submitted some great photos for this assignment. I wanted to make sure I get around to as many different people as possible before the semester's over. And there's also a few people featured who have been featured in the past, but they did such noteworthy work, I wanted to feature them again. So let's get started. I'm going to jump into Lightroom here, and I'm going to pull myself off to the side so we can concentrate on the photos themselves. This first one is by Kush Patel, as you can see, and he's photographed a bowl of one of my favorite childhood cereals, Fruit Loops. And the thing here that I really like is how he emphasized the spoonful of cereal, and he did that by bringing the spoon closer to the camera than the background. And so that's why the background appears blurry here. The camera can't focus in 2 different places at once if they're at different distances from the camera. Now, there is still some sharpness in these parts of the image, so I think there's not enough separation. I think, Kush, you could hold that spoon even higher, bring the camera higher, throw the entire background, including the bowl, into focus. But overall, really cool image. I like the way he sprinkled a few pieces of cereal here and there to add some interest in the negative space, and with a few minor tweaks, this is going to look even better. So great work there, Kush. Moving on, we have Emily, who's taken a photo of some dinner that I wish I was eating, and you know, everything's nice and sharp. There's nice soft light. One of the main things that I wanted to show you guys here was just this simple act of adding a candle. Adding another source of light makes things interesting. It takes up the negative space, breaks things up, and keeps your eye moving around. It also sets the tone, like something a little bit more relaxed. It's the evening, there's some candlelight, this is going to be a nice dinner. So good work here. One suggestion I did make to Emily was don't block these things in the background. Maybe step back, create a little bit more space around the bowl, and position these elements here so that we can see all of them. Good work. Moving on, we have Sahara, who took a photo of blueberry pancakes, which again, I want to eat these. I like the way that she also includes the maple syrup pouring, and there's even a little bit of a splash there with the icing sugar popping up. This is really, really great. Great effort here. I like how the background is kind of blown out, a little bright and cheery, maybe a Saturday or Sunday morning kind of thing going on there. I would just say, you know, remove a few little things like that. Looks like a dish rag, doesn't need to be there. This might be some dish soap, that can go. So keep your backgrounds clear. Another suggestion that I made to Sahara was I'd really like to see the spout of the maple syrup bottle here. It provides a little bit of context about what's going on, even though we know it's probably maple syrup. And also, think about space. Don't cut off the main subject at the bottom here. Pull back, give a little bit more space, shoot this one vertically, and include everything. Last bit of advice. The really nice clean window light that's coming in from the back here is nice, but that means that on the front side of the photo, we're probably getting indoor, kind of mushy, not the nicest light possible. So my suggestion to Sahara was to maybe try shooting this where the camera is on the other side shooting this way, and that way you're going to get colors accurately represented instead of the kind of yellowy tones that we have in here. Although those could be corrected using the white balance tool. Great work, Sahara. Moving along, Cachet here is just having fun, which I think is great. She's taken this cereal and she's arranged it in the shape of a yin-yang, so she's basically using shapes, she's using color, she's having fun, she's making this interesting so that if I was a kid, I would definitely want to eat this, although I'm sure you don't need to convince kids too much to eat sugary cereals, but great work there, Kush. One suggestion here, maybe work a little bit on the contrast and the vibrance or saturation, get those colors even punchier, because that's what this photo is about. Moving on, here's Jonathan with an aptly named photo. It's called Toast. No surprise there. And you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, it's not that interesting, but there are some things which I want to point out here. First of all, take a look at the level of detail here. It's sharp, and because the light is spilling over from the side, it is accentuating the rough texture of the toast, which by the way is cooked properly, or toasted properly, so that all helps too. Background, nice and clean and elegant. You know, you got the grain in the wood, perfect. You can see it's a little bit brighter here. There's a little bit of a shadow there, so you know the direction the light is coming. Now, let's look a little more carefully. The circle created by the plate itself has a nice highlight along the edge here, which it does not have on the shadow side. That's interesting. It breaks up this shape into two different half circles, which is visually appealing. And again, the arrangement here of the toast is also carefully done. He didn't just throw two pieces of toast down. The way they're presented is also helping to create some visual appeal. They're not straight on, they're slightly to the side, they're overlapping, not 100%. A lot of thought actually went into this. My main criticism here is I'd love to see something else maybe in the negative space, maybe a little, one of those little plates that holds a few pats of butter and a butter knife or something, maybe some jam, something that provides some a little bit more visual interest and is also in the context of the subject, which is toast. And so, you know, jam, butter, that kind of thing. Great work here. We're going to move on, and we've got Austin here, who's taken a photo of some lemonade. And the thing I wanted to point out here, ironically enough, is not the lemonade itself, but what he's done with the background. In the background here, he has what appears to be some curtains of some sort, which I'm guessing it's a sunny day, and so they are illuminated from behind, and they're kind of glowing. So if you think back to what you learned in science in like grade 5 or 6 or something, we call that translucent. It's not letting through all the light, so we can't see what's on the other side. It's just letting through the light, like the glowing aspect of it. And so we get this nice translucent background, and what you can do once you have a background like that is shoot anything. It could be portraits, it could be product shots, it could be shadows, anything you want against that is going to give you a different effect than just shooting against a plain opaque wall. So I like the placement here, and the only thing to be careful of, by the way, if you want to explore this, is generally in a house, for example, if the light is coming from the back, it won't be coming from the front. And so that's why you can see there's a little bit of shadow in here. So Austin, if you're listening here, what you might do is take another light source and shine it on the lemonade bottle here in the glass, maybe from an angle of say 30 or 45 degrees. That way it'll illuminate this side, you've still got the interesting background, and it'll take the photo to the next level. So great work there. Here's one from Yasmin, and I love what she was trying to do here with the picnic nature. You know, you've got this picnicky kind of, I guess it's a dish towel or something, and she's put it down in the garden here, so you've got the green. This could easily go on grass maybe, you'd have a little bit more uniform background. And I'd also recommend cropping in a little bit closer so that we're not so far from the subject here. But I like what she was doing with color and the theme, so great work there, Yasmin. Keep it up. Moving on, we have Zekevion, who's given us an interesting photo here where he's really exaggerating perspective. He's bringing some of the elements, the nuts and raisins here, really close to the camera, so they're sharp, and then everything in the background kind of blurs the way I described to you in, I think, the first photo where Kush was showing the cereal. So good work there, Zekevion. Keep it up. Bring things close to the camera, get right up close, exaggerate them, show them in much larger proportion to everything else, create some emphasis. Make sure you focus carefully, by the way, guys, because if you misfocus, you'll have something blurry and soft that no one's going to want to look at. But Zekevion did a good job here. Moving on is Jamie, who has been featured before, but I just wanted to quickly point out that this photo is neat because I feel like I'm inside the chip bag. And it's interesting, I was watching a YouTube video by a photographer who was using cutouts of bags and other things like fridges and you name it. He was kind of putting the camera on the inside and having people look in. So I forget the photographer, I forget the video, but I'm sure you can find it easily enough on YouTube. Look at that. It's kind of like neat perspective or unusual perspective photography. Like it looks like you're inside of an oven looking out or inside of a fridge looking out. And the way he does it was really, really cool. And so the way Jamie has done this is also very cool. Great work. Moving on here, we have one from Talia. Talia has been featured before. And what I wanted to point out here, aside from the color that I really like in the background and how that the blue here goes with the blueberries there, the colors are just really vibrant here. One thing that caught my attention here was the way these, I'm guessing these are maybe plums or nectarines, I can't quite tell. And these are probably, guessing they're peaches or something like that, maybe nectarines also. So let's call it plums and nectarines. The way they're arranged, they keep my eye kind of bouncing around like this. That's what we call movement. It's not when the things in the photo are moving, like a car or a ball that's been thrown. It's when your eye moves around. And if you work with your shapes and lines and other elements correctly, you can get people's eyes to move around. So nice work there, Talia. Moving on, here's one by Grace, who's also been featured. And when I saw this, my first reaction was just, wow. I really got pulled into it. The more I stare at it, it starts moving around, like it's almost mesmerizing. Really cool play of lines and form and light and value. Just really, really cool. A very symmetric yet interesting composition. I've seen this before, but she just did such a good job, and it's so sharp and easy to look at that I wanted to point that out to you. And as if to outdo herself, she sends in another image like this, which is completely different. I can tell that Grace was having a great time with this assignment. This is one that we saw on 500px if you took a look on that website, but it's interesting, and she actually went out and did it. You can see there's light coming across here as opposed to straight down. You can see by the shadow, so it's interesting to look at, and it's messy, but it's coherent. It's kind of like an organized mess that really looks interesting, shot with the utmost care to keep everything really, really sharp. The texture of the background wood and the graininess of these spices, really, really cool. And you can even take the photo and rotate it, and you're going to get something a little different. Or you can rotate it this way, or you can rotate it that way. That's one thing I wanted to tell you guys. Rotate your photos and see if, from a different perspective, they look like something completely different. You never know. Moving on, we have Jordan here, who's also been featured. And I really liked how Jordan just took all of the nuts and the nutcracker and the bowl and the acorns and laid everything in nice, interesting lines like this. The light is coming from the side. The sharpness is really, really good. There's lots of detail here, lots of clarity. This is an interesting photo. I'm sure it was fun to arrange. There's a few things in the background which I'm wondering if maybe a different kind of background, maybe a little bit more plain, would be more appropriate. But then again, I'm not quite sure if this isn't something we could easily fix up by just upping the white level in Photoshop. But really, really nice work there. And that's it. So let me just pull myself back in here. There we go. I really enjoyed looking at your photos, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. There's only a few weeks left, so I hope you'll take advantage to really finish on a strong note. There's a few more assignments to come, and I'll be talking to you about what we're going to do at the end of the semester. And for now, stay safe, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye, guys.